We're looking now at the next two races on the York card. This is the Class 2 handicap, the Clipper Logistics Stakes, and we've got Luke Elder on the phone. Good evening, Luke.
Good evening, Mr. Finch. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Enjoyed today, the first day, seeing Australia win handsomely?
Yeah, it was impressive, wasn't it? Personally, I made it through the place spot in the first leg, so I like to class that as a moral victory more than anything.
Did you get through to the end?
No, I was out in the next leg with Growl, but that's how it goes.
Right, OK, let's take a look at this 305. Where do we start? Let's start with Energizer, shall we?
Yeah, Energizer's an interesting one. If you saw him back in May, Dan, you'll remember him taking off with Mikhail Barcelona out in front. That was over 10 furlongs. Most recently, he's run at Royal Ascot over 10 furlongs, but he's just too keen again, so I wouldn't really have him on my mind for win purposes today, but he may just be dropped to a mile to help him settle, but no doubt he's a very talented horse. He just needs to sort of learn how to race in a way.
Not got a great draw either, but let's talk about another one. Parbold?
Parbold, again, is another really interesting one. I've been known to not really be on his side, but tomorrow he seems to have everything in the right lanes things. But he's got his fast ground. He's run over a mile once, which was last time out. The ground was probably too soft for him when he came third behind Pretzel and Table Rock. That was a listed company, so dropped back to a mile today. For Richard Fahey, a trainer that does notoriously well at this meeting, and also Paul Hannigan takes a ride. So that's the dream combination for a York meeting, especially York Ebor meeting. So you'd have to give Parbold a chance. I think you're quite a fan of that horse as well, aren't you, Peter?
Well, I am. I have been. I mean, I'm pretty sure the horse has been gelded, but I might have to double-check that.
He has been, yeah.
Yeah, well, that'll obviously help as well. Top-notch Tonto, I mean, you're suggesting that there might be some rain around overnight, and let's talk about that one, shall we?
Yeah, well, Top-notch Tonto's a almost infuriating horse this year. Last season, when finishing second behind Olympic Glory on Champions Day at Ascot, just looked to have the world at his feet. But this year, he's not gone on with it at all. Started off finishing fourth at Sandown, and I think it was a Group 2, the Bet 365 mile. Then you think maybe, OK, right, that was one run to get fit, and he just hasn't gone on from it at all. He finished last of three in a Brigadier Gerard. But watching Racing UK today, Brian Ellison said that he's been absolutely flying at home, and he's just taken a while to sort of get over his exploits from Ascot last year. So with a bit of rain in the ground, you wouldn't sort of rule Top-notch Tonto out with Mikey Ennis.
Is it fair to say, though, Luke, that obviously with the jockey's claim that the horse may be still too much high in the handicap?
Possibly, yeah. But from the important thing to note is that when he was last handicapping to now, he's a much improved horse. Obviously, we last saw him, I think it was off a mark of the low 90s. Tomorrow it's 108, Mikey Ennis takes 7 off, so 101 in effect. He still has to show that he is the horse of old, but if he does return to that, then he's got to be bang there, hasn't he? Yeah,
and Navarro Chief is one more we'll talk about before we go into your selection. Got a lot of duck eggs by his name, 0-0s, but has won at the course before.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. Navajo Chief always seems to run his race at the big meetings here. He won off a £2 lower mark earlier this season, 3 runs ago, but he's been absolutely dismal since, and he's going to have to return to form in a big way, but he has been known to do that at this meeting.
But it's also fair to say there's been breaks in between that, and again, there may not have been a big enough break for that horse to...
Yeah.
Is that a fair comment as well?
Yeah, no, of course, and there is money for him tonight, whether that's the sort of in-the-know money or whether it's just people sort of hoping that at a bigger price he's going to return to form, obviously, on the Naesmire.
And the one I think you're going to go for, you may have changed your mind, Boom and Bust, run really well in the Cambridgeshire 2 years ago, I think maybe finished second or third. Your feelings on Boom and Bust? Well,
Boom and Bust is a lovable old sort. He's been struggling in group and listed company lately, but he hasn't been running bad races in effect. The last time we saw him in handicap company, as you rightly mentioned, he was third in the Cambridgeshire in 2012. That was off £1 higher, and Joe Doyle takes off a valuable £5 today or tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. But Joe Doyle seems to be fantastic value for his claim, but he is one of the pace angles, and there is no shortage of that tomorrow. So at a price, I can see Boom and Bust going very, very well back in handicap company.
OK, well, it's time for the selection. We've already had Dutch Connection picked by Tom at 16 to 1, so...
I don't know how he fluked that.
I know, nor do I. And nor do I. But what are we going for? We're going for 1 or we're going for 2 in this race, Luke?
I'll go for Boom and Bust each way, and I'm also going to throw in Bronze Angel, who I've been talked into by a good friend, Callum Medell. Last time out, got a horrible draw at Glorious Goodwood and didn't get any luck in running when almost taken out by Red Avenger about 2 furlongs from home. But after that, absolutely flew home. So I'm going to go with the Marcus Tregonning pair here, with Bronze Angel at about 9 to 1 at the moment and Boom and Bust, who's about 25.
OK. Let's move on to... It's a shame, really, that it's such odds on, but, I mean, obviously it gets another opportunity to watch Tagruda in action. Unbeaten, obviously, in the Oaks and the King George winner. It is pretty much a one-horse race, isn't it, Luke?
It's very hard to see anything else getting near Tagruda, isn't it? I think 2 to 9 really does reflect this race in a whole. Tagruda just looks in a complete league of her own. We saw Telescope and Mukadram didn't really boost the form of the King George today, but Mukadram didn't run his race for some reason. He was just way too keen, which is completely unlike him. But Tagruda, you'd expect to still be in a league of her own against these, especially likes of Volume, who she's already beaten in the Oaks at Epsom. Second,
possibly Tapestry?
Yeah, Tapestry would be the each-way selection out of the whole field, but this race screams no bet race for me. I'm just hoping to watch Tagruda, because I've been saying for a while that she's going to win the Arc, and hopefully this is just another stepping stone, and it should be a stepping stone. But Tapestry, last time out in the Irish Oaks, she ran an extraordinary race. If you see any of the pictures taken at the finishing line, her saddle was right around her backside. So I'm not sure when the saddle actually slipped, but she's run a fantastic race to finish second to Bracelet on that form, and she was finishing really, really strongly. So she'd probably have the best chance other than Tagruda.
OK, so you're not going to nap Tagruda then for us, Luke?
If only. No, but it would be brilliant to see Tagruda win, and she should win, really. OK,
and to just wrap things up, is there anything else on the York card that viewers at home should take note of?
Well, I believe you have Sam talking about the Lauda, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, has he gone for anything yet, or...?
He's gone for Tiggy Wiggy.
Yeah, I have to agree with him on that, actually. Anthem Alexander, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago on Bet Racing Nation, was the horse that impressed me most at Royal Ascot, but she just looked all speed, and a step up to 6 furlongs, I'm not too sure. I even said that I'd be keen on her in the Nunthorpe, which is a big thing to say about a 2-year-old, but Tiggy Wiggy just looks the complete package now. What we saw in the Super Sprint was absolutely phenomenal. Up to 6 furlongs, she's proved that that's no problem, and getting £3 from Anthem Alexander, I think Tiggy Wiggy is an absolute good thing tomorrow.
OK, so if you was to give us a double, would it be Tiggy Wiggy and Tagruda, or would you Tiggy Wiggy and Boom and Bust?
The annoying thing is there's just no real sort of value going for Tagruda in a multiple. She would be there just to boost the price a little bit. I'd say Tiggy Wiggy and Bronze Angel probably would be the two that to take for tomorrow. OK, thanks very much indeed, Luke, for that look at the 2 races on the second day of the Eborn meeting. Thanks very much indeed, Luke. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.